can't think of one recipe that blew up more in 2023 than the birria taco. So I figured, let's make some birria beef jerky. What we're gonna need for this is, we're gonna need 5 ancho peppers, 5 guajillo peppers, 5 cloves of garlic. We'll need some ground black pepper, some ground cumin, ground ginger, oregano. You can also, this is some chipotle pepper seasoning for a little bit of heat, but you can also add a couple of chilies de arbol, some diced fire roasted tomatoes, a white onion, and a little bit of beef broth. So let's get the peppers hydrating and the onion caramelized. Time to rehydrate these peppers, and we'll give this about 20 minutes, occasionally stirring so they're all nice and rehydrated, and then we will take out the stems and seeds. We'll add our 5 finely chopped cloves of garlic. We'll add in our can of fire roasted tomatoes. Once we have our peppers rehydrated, de-seeded, and de-stemmed, we'll go ahead and give them a rough chop and add them to the rest of our mix, which will be blended up anyway, so it doesn't need to be chopped up too fine. We'll add 1 tablespoon of oregano, 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, 1 teaspoon of chipotle powder, and finally 1 teaspoon of ground black pepper. We'll go ahead and give this a stir, and we will put this in the food processor, and that should round out our marinade. Blend all of this up in a food processor, adding a little bit of beef broth if needed. Well, it's time to prep our meat. Here we have 2.5 pounds of Aya round steak, and what we'll want to do is we will just want to trim this fat cap off. Now what I like to do is pop this in the freezer for half an hour to an hour, and that kind of stiffens it up, makes it a little bit easier to cut, a little bit easier to handle. So first things first, we'll get rid of this fat cap here, and we'll just slice down the roast, trying to leave as much meat on as possible, only taking off the fat cap, and that's pretty good. You can see most of the fat is gone here. We'll want to remove as much of the exterior fat as possible, since fat is the enemy of beef jerky, because fat does not dehydrate, and that will continue to spoil. All right, once we have our fat trimmed off, we'll cut this roast against the grain. So as you can see here, we have horizontal muscle fibers, and we want to cut vertical strips, or against the grain, or perpendicular to the muscle fibers. Now for this specific jerky, I'm going to be cutting this a little bit thicker, because I'm going to be cutting this into bites. You can see here, short muscle fibers. So I'm still going to be cutting against the grain. We always want to cut against the grain. For this, I just want little bite-sized chunks. And this is just easier snacking, easier eating. And this will go into our Ziploc bag lined bowl. And then once we are done cutting our cubes, we will add the marinade into the bag as well. So now that we have all of our beef cubed up or put into slices, add in some of our birria paste. I'm going to say we're going to add about 2 cups of this in here. First time trying this, but we'll see what we can find out. And this has a fantastic flavor. I've been adding it to just about everything I've been cooking in the past week or so. I'm going to save a little bit more just for a general condiment. Close the top of the bag, leaving quite a bit of air in the bag just so we can fully mix up the contents. Get that birria paste coated over every single chunk, every single slice. And then we'll open this up a little bit at the top and try to take out quite a bit of air, just so the marinade can spread out a little bit more evenly when it's in the bag. Okay, now that we have our beef chunks in there, so this will go in the fridge for 48 hours, and twice a day we'll take it out of the fridge. We'll agitate it, kind of stir it, I guess, if you will, inside the bag, mix it up. We'll flip it over and pop it back in. We'll do that twice a day for 48 hours. So we'll see you in 2 days, 48 hours. Well, we're 24 hours in, and I'm noticing that the Birria mixture is just a little too thick. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take 1 cup of beef broth and I'm gonna add it to this mix, just to kind of get that classic liquidy marinade. The beef has already absorbed a lot of the Birria for 24 hours, and that's kind of more of the consistency of the marinade is what I was looking for. So we'll take the air out of it again. Make sure that the marinade coats it evenly. Zip it extra tight. This finish in the fridge for another 24 hours. Another 24 hours has passed, and we have our Birria paste, our Birria mixture mixed with a little bit of beef broth, and oh my gosh, it smells fantastic. It almost smells like a real heavy seasoned pizza sauce. It's got to be the fire roasted tomatoes, that oregano in there. It smells amazing. So this has been marinating for a total of 48 hours. Let's get it now onto our dehydrating trays. The protocol for this is we just want to leave a little bit of space between each of the pieces of meat, and this is going to help them dehydrate evenly. And I did cut a couple into strips, mostly cubes. The cubes will take a little bit longer than the strips to dehydrate just because they're a little bit thicker. So this will go into our dehydrator on a low setting for another 48 hours, or until desired consistency is reached. Well, it's been another 24 hours and our beef jerky is all dehydrated and ready to eat. Let's give it a taste. It's peppery, it's tomatoey, pretty seasoned as well. I kind of get a very well seasoned pizza sauce flavor out of this. Real interesting. The paste is delicious. It's a great condiment. I'll definitely be making this again. Well, thanks everybody for watching. The recipe is down in the description below. If you like this video, give it a like, give the channel a sub to show support, and as always, have a great rest of the day.